Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm doing another video, and it's kind of an update to my video about the Dane County mask mandate. So initially they had promised, or half promised, we're going to lift the mask mandate. Oh, there will be no more masks. And of course they extended it until January 3rd. Now the madness in this is that a great number of people are not complying, and they're really not doing shit about it, which is funny because I have to recall last year a very restrictive mandate that they had, wherein if you had anybody that was not part of your household in your house or your apartment, you could be fined $1,000. This was like in November, December of last year. The fact that people don't see the problem with that as far as individual liberty, individual civil rights and liberties. And you can complain, oh, those MAGA people want their rights when people are dying. People are dying. Yeah, fine. Okay, I'm on that side. It's just like ACLU. They used to defend Nazis. It doesn't mean you're a Nazi. Just because you believe in human liberty and freedom does not mean you want people to die, or you don't support Nazis because you're in that. So this is, it's gone on long enough, and I don't know if it's, to me it's a joke at this point. You'll go to any bar downtown. I went out like a month ago. First time out in the town and probably since early 2020. I mean, I should go out more. I'm probably going to start doing that, regardless of the Transformers, the new Decepticon Gestalt variant that's hitting. So. Ooh, I coughed. So yeah, I mean, it's a joke at this point. I mean, people, I went out and this is what happened. I think I told this story already, but I may as well. So I went to this bar, which will remain unnamed. They weren't even enforcing it at all. And then there's this other bar where the guy was really militant at the door about the mask. But it was all for show because 3 feet later, or 3 feet away, nobody wore a mask. I was dancing with a bunch of people in a crowded room, a bar. So it's pretty funny to think about this whole masquerade that Dane County is still doing. And I was listening to a public health meeting where it had a bunch of call-in people yesterday, and it was pretty colorful crowd that was calling in. Probably well beyond anything that I believe, like, on the conspiracy direction or whatever you want to call it. But it was pretty illuminating that there's so many people in Dane County that are speaking up against all this stuff, which wish they would do more. Wish they would have done more. But yeah, I don't believe in restricting liberty of who you have in your fucking house. I don't care. I don't care if it was smallpox. I don't care. The government has no business telling people. I mean, okay, so like maybe a small allowance if it was like a crowd of people. Oh, if you have more than 20 people in your house, you have to get fined. Maybe, there's a little room in my brain for that, but like the way that they were handling it last year where, if you had anybody outside your household, that's just completely authoritarian and completely autocratic, completely out of your fucking mind, So as much as I hate doing videos about this, it makes me feel like shit. I'm just like, oh my God, gotta keep doing these videos. I feel like I'm doing something. It makes me feel like I'm doing something. Kind of like the Dane County with the mask mandate. It feels like they're doing something, right? Something about the virus! So I thought about this. I definitely want to figure out a way to embattle these ideas, as far as, I don't think what's the point at this point to have these mandates? It's confusing as hell. We were told, what would resolve all this stuff, what I'm talking about. But if it's not, then why then what's the point? If everybody's going to get it anyways, what's the point in these mandates? They want to have control. They want to pretend they're doing something good and righteous and virtuous. Virtue. The signal of virtue, right? So I'll fight with every ounce of my being. All this stuff. I'm going to message some Dane County board members and try to get a public hearing, whether it's in person or on Zoom. I don't care, I'm going to fight. Because how long are they going to do it? A year from now, are we going to be doing it? If someone, if there's 4 cases in a month or something, are they going to do this mandate? Are they going to keep this going? This just ridiculous thing? And now they changed it because if you had a certain thing, it's a room full of that certain thing, you don't have to wear it. But it's like, doesn't that lead to mandates? More mandates? I mean, madness has an end. I mean, I was just reading today that Israel's on their 5th booster. Their 5th one. What is this going to end? Where does this end? When the fuck are people going to wake up that this is, and it's beyond conspiracy at this point. It's like Sticks Hexenhammer talks about in his videos. That's one of the reasons why I started watching him, is because he talks about this stuff and the occult and stuff too. I don't like Trump, and I'm not, I don't believe in leftoids because, I still respect a lot of what Northern Europe did, economically and otherwise. I mean, it's a little different than socialism, but but when is this gonna fucking end? Like he says, it's like, it's just this this continuous ramping down on human freedom and liberty, and it has to end at some point. How can we keep going through this over and over again? When is it going to end? I guess maybe when it's as mild as a cold, right? If it ever gets there, what are we going to do if it doesn't? Just keep doing this year after year? Do you really expect people to be doing this in 2030? This kind of shit? Do you really expect people to, be scanning their QR code to get into a, restaurant, or if you didn't do your 20th booster, you can't, go to the grocery store? Do people really expect people to put up with that? There's worldwide rebellions right now. See, the rebellions are more than, and I'm just going to say this because the rebellions are more than just about the virus too, because there's all sorts of strikes. I guess there's was it football or something? There's a strike or something that's preventing games or some of the games or something. It's just all over the place. It's chaos, we're living. The millennium took 20 years to start. The crazy stuff that people expected. So yeah, so I mean, my question is, my proposal, if someone just tells us, and I'm not talking about Fauci because he keeps pushing the goalpost, right? Well, maybe by March 2022 we'll have things under control. Maybe March 2024. Maybe March 2040. I'll be gone by then. In hell. So, yeah, I mean, give us an end game. And at least he's, we'll give him a little tiny bit of credit for saying under 10,000 cases a day. And it's like, do you really expect that to happen, though? Anytime soon, in the next year, in the next 2 years? It's just like, and what's a case? What are you going to count as a case? Just as someone has a sniffles? If someone just tests positive because they're required to test, that's the problem right there. Oh, everybody was asymptomatic on this ship or whatever. One person got a cold and then we're fine. And then, 2 months later, someone died, had a heart attack, and they tested positive, so we're counting that as a case. Oh, and it's like the madness has to end. There's only so much that people can put up with this sanity. It's just become insanity. It's like the terror alert warnings. I mean, that's such an apt comparison. I mean, it's just like Tom Ridge. Okay, George W. Bush is unpopular this week, so we're on orange again because of some supposed FBI chatter that we found. Oh my God, we're all gonna die from a suitcase nuke in New York, or we're all gonna die. Oh, there's a new variant this week. Oh, Biden's doing bad. We gotta. Oh, the Maxwell trials on too. Oh, we're gonna pay attention to this. Look at this shiny spiked ball in front of you. You know, it's like fucking what the fuck? When and how will this end? You know, what do they want? What is the end goal of this? And like I said in one of my previous videos recently, I don't believe it's about health anymore. This is something that I didn't agree with the truth community about until the last 3 or 4 days. I was like, wait a second, okay. You know, I always hear this meme or this theme that is brought up. Well, it's not about people's health, it's about control. Okay, and I thought it was dumb. I'll admit it. Like I thought it was naive and a little too simplistic and unnuanced. But now I'm like, and I think really what happened is when I thought about how many hypocrites there are, like in the United States and elsewhere too, with all they're violating their own guidelines. And then I thought about the whole thing with patent waivers, and I kind of put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, a lot of the left, to their credit, is talking about patent waivers. Intercepted and it did some pieces about the lab and about Pfizer and all this stuff, you know, more recently. And that's to their credit. There's a little door opening, you know. I guess you have to be dissident left to really follow it, like Primo Radical or Max Blumenthal or whatever. You know, you watch these leftist commentators talk about this, or Jackson Hinkle, or Richard Wolff, right? So there is a little door opening on the left for skepticism about what's going on. And it is getting better and better. It's taken a long time. I mean, it's about the same as 9/11, because I remember after 9/11, like all the Democrats and all the liberals were like, we got to support our president. We got to fight the terrorists. And then, you know, Iraq thing happened. Like, people were like, what's going on? There's always journalists coming out, no weapons of mass destruction, all this stuff. So it's taken a while for people on the left to really wake up. It was like 2003, 2004, you know, it took 2 years, you know, just like with this, it's taken years, you know, for people to really wake up to what's going on with a lot of this. I mean, and I think there is something going on. And how much power they have is a good question. Because I was having a conversation online today. I'm like, I'm afraid that they're going to try to corral us into some kind of control system, right? It's like a lot of people are talking about, Winnie Webb or whoever. And the fact of the matter is, I was afraid of getting drafted to go to war with Iran in the early 2000s, because that was on everybody's minds. All the truth people are like, Project for a New American Century. We're going to go to war with Iran. Oh my God. Never happened. I mean, I remember what Dick Cheney said. All options are on the table with Iran. But we never went. And now a certain other public official said all options are on the table about something else. I'm like, oh God, no. Not going to be a pincushion every 3 months. I think England is doing every 3 months now for the, you know, let me use code words, Wi-Fi boost. Actually, Matt McKinley, I've been watching a lot of his videos. He's using some new code words. Pretty cool. I forgot what the new one was. 7-Eleven, A Space Odyssey. 7-Eleven, 2001, A Space Odyssey. And all these new code words he's using to get away with from the YouTube censorship. So, anyways, I will resist the mandates in Dane County. And I'm going to try to get some people to at least have citizen participation, more than this stupid public health meeting where nobody was allowed to answer on the other end. We need to have people talking and discussing this. Where is this going to go? What happened to last year? We said, oh, we'll be out of this by then when there's an available, you know what? No mandates, or no mandates because you have the choice of the thing. What happened to that? I guess it didn't happen, huh? Because you could still, you know what, with the, even having the you know what. So I'm afraid of being homeless or not having a job. I'll admit, because I'm not going to be a pincushion. So that's my biggest fear right now. Becoming self-employed, would probably free me up from that to a huge extent. So I'm going to probably try to really hammer down on that in the next couple months. But obviously, there's been enough resistance where things are paused at least, but they are talking about how I'm not fully, what, in the next couple of months. And I'm sure it'll probably happen. I'll be one of those evil, whatted people that you fear and hate, want put in a camp or whatever. Well, that's fine, If I have to die fighting tyranny and fighting for human freedom and liberation on this planet, at least I fucking did something. That's all.